Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more bolt action here as we continue our look at some of the minor nations. It's been a minute, but we're getting back in it here for the new year. So today we're taking a look at an exciting one, which is Finland. A lot of people love playing this force, and why not? It has some really cool history and lore to it, but also some of the special abilities are pretty fun on the tabletop, if nothing else. So right off the bat, we get a couple of army special rules. So first here, Trained Huntsman. As long as any Finnish infantry unit has an ambush order die next to it, it can re-roll morale checks. Also, when the unit opens fire from ambush, all models in the unit that are armed with a rifle, including snipers, gain a +1 to hit bonus. So pretty powerful stuff, and ties into the history of how the Finns fought a lot of their actions during the war. So that's a neat and powerful ability. Then there's Sisu. When a Finnish infantry or artillery unit is reduced to 50% or less of its starting strength, the remaining models in that unit are automatically upgraded to higher quality, so inexperienced to regular, regular to vets, while vet units increase their morale base to 11. So, for example, when 9 regular Finnish infantry are reduced to 4 or below, the men are immediately upgraded to veterans before any more dice are rolled, including any morale checks they must take for the casualties suffered. So really powerful stuff there. So as your force depletes, essentially, we're not gaining more men, certainly, but we're gaining quality of troops. So, and then we're not paying any points costs whatsoever across the board for that. So really powerful stuff, and can help turn the tide potentially as your units do take casualties. Then there's Mati. When attempting an outflanking maneuver as described on 172 of the rulebook, Finnish infantry units ignore the -1 modifier to the order test for coming onto the table. So again, ties back into kind of that also with like huntsmen and stuff like that. So just really all about ambushing and outflanking the opponent, making use of their natural terrain and knowledge of that versus the opponent. So very useful rule as well. And then finally, since a lot of this will tie into like fighting during the winter. Skis. All infantry units may be equipped with skis for free. So again, hey, free is good, right? Ski troops ignore movement penalties for snow and other winter conditions. So for setting up some thematic battles where we're taking advantage of like actually playing in winter conditions and things like that, everyone already having free skis, and then essentially making it so that our force essentially ignores all these movement penalties for snow and stuff like that is, again, pretty powerful. So some very, very relevant army special rules for these guys. Now, let's dig into the infantry. So fairly standard stuff here in HQ. We're looking at the officer. We go platoon, commander, so like first or second lieutenant, basically, or company commander, and then the regular and vet options there. And basically, again, the officer end up to 2 further men. So we got pistol, SMG, or rifle, basically whatever the models are modeled with. And again, there's the points cost for the additional men if we want to take those. And obviously, if the whatever the command level or veterancy level of the officer is, that has to be of the 2 extra men as well. Medic, also fairly standard stuff here. Again, could also be accompanied by 2 unarmored men. And then finally, a forward observer. So we got our regular and vets there. And again, whatever's on the models. But that does give us the infiltrator rule, right? Because they're going to set up keyword forward there to hopefully get some good line of sight on enemy units and start dropping artillery. Now, the infantry is where there's going to be essentially the bulk of the good stuff for the list. So the infantry squad here, 50 for regular, 65 for vets, which initially buys us an NCO and 4 men stock with rifles. We can add up to 4 additional men with rifles for 10 points regular or 13 vet, right? The NCO and 1 additional man may be upgraded with SMGs instead of the rifle for +4 points, so gives us a little bit more dice up close. 1 man may have an LMG for 15, another becomes the loader, so everybody, of course, loves their LMGs in the squad. Up to 2 of the guys could also be rocking some Panzerfaust for 15 points, so it gives us some very much needed anti-tank. The entire squad also could take anti-tank grenades, typical 2-point cost there. Another fun one that we don't see always, but again, just makes these guys so much more powerful. Although, again, as you can see with all these upgrades, also the points really can start ticking up as we buy more bells and whistles. But for 1 point per man, we can give everybody tough fighters, which is, again, a nice bonus there. Also, we could give everybody engineers if we wanted for +1 points a man. And then finally, if the engineer's rule is taken, one man can replace his rifle for a flamethrower, and another becomes the assistant there. So again, first off, we get a super flexible unit that really can field whatever we want it to, right? We could just go cheap, bog standard with rifles. We could throw a few like SMGs in there if we wanted. We could take the ubiquitous LMG. We could add a little bit of anti-tank with two different ways of really doing that, with Panzerfaust, or if we want to get more up close and personal with the grenades. Then we can upgrade the quality of the guys with tough fighters. We can go the engineer route if we want to rock a flamethrower. So really, and if we really wanted to spend the points, I guess theoretically, right, we could buy every last upgrade. Super expensive unit, but one that really can do just about everything. So, and unless I'm mistaken, somebody correct me, of course, if I'm wrong. And again, if we wanted to invest the points here, we could potentially, max out the squad, take an LMG. So we got the LMG and loader, and then take a flamethrower as well, assuming we upgrade engineers and have an assistant there. So really, two guys would essentially be doing nothing in the squad, but we'd have a flamethrower and LMG for all kinds of different options there. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Right off the bat, just your standard infantry squad here is a very good toolbox. So let's take a look at what else we get. Okay, we also get recon and light infantry here. So these guys are just veterans by default. Again, comes stock with rifles. Here, we can add up to 6 additional men to get that 10-man squad size. Any model in this one can have an SMG instead of a rifle. So if we wanted to go that route, really, we could have some devastating close-range ability with these guys. We do still get the ability to deal with tanks here. So again, 2 men can have Panzerfaust. Everybody can have anti-tank grenades. Interestingly enough, here everybody could have bicycles for the +1 point per model, and then also again, everybody could be tough fighter for +1 point per man, and or be upgraded to Sissy Recon Squad, gaining the Masters of the Hunt rule for +1 points per man as well. And just adding all that on together, again, really we can make some super elite units here. So, and then Masters of the Hunt can move into an ambush position. In other words, they are allowed to make an advanced move, and if they don't shoot any weapons, then they can turn their dice to an ambush order. So, really strong stuff there. And again, being able to potentially ambush an enemy up close too, with like just a full-on bucket of dice from multiple SMGs, we can really pour on the firepower. So these guys really can punch well above their weight, depending on the upgrade paths that we're taking. So really another great unit that they have. So far right off the bat, we've gotten 2 really top-notch infantry units that the Finns have access to. And again, we can do a little bit of everything. We can certainly shoot like crazy. We can even deal with some tanks as well. Moving on, we got and we're probably going to butcher the pronunciation here, the Kaukopartio long-distance recon squads. Also a veteran by default, a big chunk of points here, as you can see. So NCO and 4 men, 115 points, whereas up above here, 65 points for vets. So almost double the cost. These guys come built with SMGs and anti-tank grenades, so we are getting a little bit of value for the points invested. We can buy up to 4 additional men here with SMGs, 23 points. Any man may choose to have a rifle instead of their SMG. Here we would be paying points to get the rifle, so it's not like a free swap, which would have been nice to have, or even maybe a downgrade, so we're actually paying to go to rifles if we want some long-range ability. But these guys come fully loaded with special abilities, and that's a large part of their cost here. So in addition to doing rather than doing all the stuff separately, like in these other previous units and buying all these rules, we just have them. So Tank Hunters comes built in. We're Fanatics, which is going to basically keep them around forever. Also, instead of buying separate medics, these guys just have medics. Each man carries field surgery kits and is a skilled medic. Therefore, the unit can self-medicate. It's kind of a fun way of wording that. It can always always acts exactly in the same way as if a medic was within 6 of the unit. So fantastic stuff there. And then Deep Strike mission. When one of these units that is outflanking as described in the rulebook becomes available, it may enter the battlefield from anywhere along either the right or left table edge, depending on the chosen side, or any point along the enemy's own table edge, which is always nasty when you're coming in on typically the opponent's deployment edge. So, for example, if you decide to outflank left, it could enter at any point along the left table edge, regardless of the turn it became available, or any point along the enemy's table edge. So it's essentially like a super outflanking ability here, basically. So another superlative infantry unit here. We are going to pay, again, a pretty solid chunk of points for that, but again, we're just fully loaded with every ability that we really would want, and they're going to basically stay to the last man. So then we get some more standard type units, though. If we want to round things out, we can certainly go with MMG teams. So a medium machine gun, typical stuff there. AT team here, it's an anti-tank rifle. We could upgrade to a Panzerschreck instead, which takes them from being pretty cheap all the way up to fairly expensive, but it's a Schreck. So that gives us a little more punch as well. Flamethrower team, pretty typical stuff there if we want them separate as opposed to being in one of the infantry squads like we saw earlier. Of course, if we're playing Finns, we can't be leaving home without sniper teams. So, and again here, in addition to team weapon, sniper, and infiltrator, we have Master of the Hunt. Finnish snipers can move into an ambush position. In other words, they're allowed to make an advanced move, and if they don't shoot any weapons, then that sniper team can turn their dice to an ambush order. So, pretty cool to have that already built in. And then finally a mortar. We have a light one here. We could pay the points to upgrade to medium, which I think is probably going to be pretty standard to do that, just to get some more power out of that. Or the heavy option if we want, then we're doubling the points cost, but again, may well be worth it. We definitely want to be able to drop some long range goodness onto the enemy there and start blowing up some opposing models. And we could also pay the points cost to have a spotter there. So pretty standard stuff all around. But again, these guys will help round out some of the things that they're really here to complement what the regular infantry squads are going to be doing. But certainly, again, can't leave home without snipers here for playing Finns. So let's take a look at what else the force has. All right, moving on, guys. We get field artillery here. So we initially can buy a light howitzer, 45 and 59 points respectively. It does have the ability to take a gun shield if we want to pay some more points there. And we do have the upgrade paths of going with medium to heavy howitzers and gaining the appropriate cost and men there. And medium and heavies can add spotters as well, which, I mean, if we're paying the points for that, we probably should be taking a spotter. But so we do have the ability to also bring in some heavy ordnance here, essentially, to deal with the opponent's forces. So good stuff there. Anti-tank guns, pretty typical stuff there. Again, starting kind of at the light option. Then we could, interestingly here, the crew could be upgraded with skis, and the gun could be mounted on an Akio sledge. Again, very thematic, 4 points for that. I do wish a lot of times that the game here would just kind of have consistent upgrade costs, just in intervals of 5 would really be nice. But here, I guess it's 4 points for that if we want to take that upgrade. Then we could upgrade the gun to an MG40, or sorry, not MG42, M42 light anti-tank gun for plus 10 points. Then going separately here, we could upgrade the gun to a medium AT gun for 20 points, or heavy for even more points there. So, and then the ability or the reason to do the M42 upgrade, improved ballistic performance within 24 inches, and M42 ATG adds +1 pen value. So not going to be that long range sniper option, but really up close is going to be punching a little bit above its weight. So worth considering if we don't want to take the extra points to go to like medium and heavy. Skis is another option here again. So again, with the sledge, right? Ignore movement penalties for snow and winter conditions. So again, very thematic, very cool abilities there if we're playing in those kind of conditions. And then finally, anti-air guns. So pretty typical stuff here. Light autocannon on a rotating platform. We could go to a heavy autocannon. We lose the gun shield and add a crew, though, for 10 points. But if we really feel like AA is going to be needed, certainly an ability there. But of course, a lot of times it makes sense to turn that AA into kind of an infantry shredder. So, but I think we have a lot of other options of accomplishing that. So, but could still be fun to run that. So. But all in all, with our artillery forces here, we get some good options. We can definitely bring the boom, and if needed, we can also do enough to punch against enemy vehicles as well. Speaking of vehicles, that'll be kind of the last section we get to. So, kind of like a lot of the other minor nations, we get an interesting assortment of vehicles that we have access to. So there's tankettes, 70 to 84 points there. 2 separate turret-mounted medium machine guns. Vickers 6-ton vehicle. Basically counts as an armored car. We could replace both MMGs with a single turret-mounted light AT gun with a coaxial MMG for 35 points. That's the T26B or E. It does taking the points cost up fairly high. I think a lot of people do just prefer running the double machine gun thing just to hose people down with shots on that. We have some captured Soviet light tanks. Again, fairly solid points cost for those, 95 and 114, but basically some combination of BT5s or 7s. And what we get for that is a turret-mounted light AT gun with coax MMG. It does count as a light tank, so we get a little bit more armor. We could replace all weapons with 1 turret-mounted light howitzer with coaxial medium machine gun, 1 turret-mounted medium machine gun covering the front and left arc, 1 turret-mounted medium machine gun covering the front arc and the right arc, 1 pintle-mounted AA gun for 25 points. That's the T28 Postuyuna. Honestly, I'm not sure what it even looks like, but that is yet another option if we wanted to go that route and have a portable howitzer for some portable artillery. But some people might just want to run that as the actual sort of just light tank. And then we do have the special rule unreliable that we get stuck with for that. So then let's take a look at the last page here and see what else we have access to. So we do have captured Soviet mediums. So here's where we get into some of the good stuff. We're going to pay some points for that, though. 198. These are crewed only by vets. Turret-mounted medium machine, or medium anti-tank gun with coax MMG and a forward-facing hull-mounted MMG. So that's the T-34 Sotka. So that gives us some solid all-around ability. 9-up medium tank. And we could upgrade it for another 35 points to a heavy AT gun, which would be basically a captured T-34-85. But again, coming with the unreliable rule. But that gives us, with that heavy gun, that gives us more than enough punch to deal with most common things that we would probably encounter. And again, very thematic for the Finns to have captured Soviet equipment. But wait, there's more. For 304 points, essentially, we're getting a captured KV-1. So here, again, medium anti-tank gun, plenty of machine guns. They had that funky rear-facing machine gun out of the turret as well. But here, even though we're a minor nation, it gives us that access to that sweet 10-plus damage value as a heavy tank. But being a KV-1, we got some downsides. Slow, is armored all around, though, which is really good, but also unreliable. So definitely a consideration to make for the points cost invested. Do you want the upsides with that, but also are you willing to deal with the downsides? Some other cool ones, though. BT-42, which is a turret-mounted medium howitzer. It's a light tank, fairly cheap in points here, but that gives us, again, that portable howitzer action. And then if we wanted to bring in some sort of allied goodness here from the German side, Stug 3, because you got to live that Stug life. 185 regular, 222 vet. So here we get that casement-mounted forward-facing heavy AT gun and a medium MMG with a full 360 and a medium package. Everybody knows the Stug, so that is a pretty potent ability too for very good points cost there. And again, that heavy AT gun will do everything that you need it to. Armored cars, more captured Soviet stuff here, so pretty cheap. We get the BA-20. It's a turret-mounted LMG. We could replace all weapons with one turret-mounted light AT gun with a coax LMG and a forward-facing LMG for another 55 points. That's the BA-10. Could well be worth it. So we'll get a little bit of AT action there with essentially a second MMG, or LMG. So plenty of ability to hose down infantry with that. It is recce, so that gives us another fun ability to play with all the ambush and other shenanigans that we can do, but it is another unreliable vehicle. Then finally, the tows here. So captured T-20 Kozomolets. Very cheap, of course, but does come with a forward-facing LMG. It's a 7-up, considered armored carrier. Can only take up to 6 men, but can tow basically any AT guns, AA gun, or lighter medium howitzer. So something to keep in mind there for a very low points investment. It's open-topped, but also unreliable. So that typical theme of the Soviets there. So all in all, the Finns are pretty cool here. Lots of abilities here, a lot of special rules, very nasty, superb infantry, fairly decent selection of other like artillery and things like that, and then a decent selection of tanks as well, even though most of it's going to be captured Soviet stuff. So you got some of the upsides with some of the real downsides there, with most things being unreliable. But all in all, you can still put together a potent force that certainly will give the opponents hell in dealing with your infantry, and very much serviceable on everything else. You have all the tools you need if you want to drop templates, if you want more than good enough anti-tank ability. So it's really all there in a really, really nice package. Let us know, guys, if you play Finns for bolt action, how you go about kitting up your forces, and do you kind of just run mainly infantry? Do you try to incorporate a lot of armor with the captured Soviet stuff, maybe some of the Stugs? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to hit us up, like, and subscribe. We'll have more bolt action for you soon. And thanks so much for watching.